everyone, today we're going to have a quick review of the fly of the CowanSim's Bell 206 Jetranger. This has now been updated to X-Plane 12 Beta 4, so it should work. I haven't really flown this one much yet, so just basically tried to set it up, so we'll have a quick look at it. It's really nice model, as you'd expect from CowanSim's. A lot of attention to detail, all the rivets and handles, and yeah, a lot of customizations on it too, like all the doors open. You have a look in the back there, seat belts and headsets and air vents. It's even looks like life vests on there beside the seats. We'll shut that door up. Let's walk around the front. Yeah, a classic design helicopter too. This one's a colour scheme that comes with it, the helicopter line for worldwide helicopters. What's the rego? Must be HGH, I think it is. But yeah, we're parked at where are we? Martin's Bay, or Martin's Lodge, which is just a bit north of Milford Sound, and this is the best place in the country today with weather-wise, because I had a little look on the Met Service forecast, and it's pretty clagged in the North Island in places. So I thought we'll do a different location, and we'll fly from here across to Milford Sound and land beside one of the hangars there. So we'll test it out as we go. So we'll jump in. There's a few issues with it I've found for the start sequence. Getting it to start, it's almost rushes to start, so I'm not sure whether that might be fixed at some point, but once it's running, it's good. So we'll get it up and running. Railroaders are there. You see it's sort of did a double. I can't comment too much since I've never actually been in or seen a start sequence of a real Jetranger in real life, so I'm not sure, but it definitely sounded as though it was glitching a little bit. And that's the bug I was talking about, and that could be because we're now on beta 5 of X-Plane. It sort of goes almost past it, and then the revs will come back, and now we're sitting in the green, so we are good to go now. Just put a generator on. Oh, we're dropping revs again. Now we're coming back up again. See, this, it's just when it starts, there's like a bit of a, I'm not sure why it does it, but it could be beta 5 is missing something a little bit. Right, we're up and running. Warmed up. Okay, we'll have a feel. I've got an extension added to my a homemade extension on my joystick now, which is the Thrustmaster HOTUS. So it makes the stick about the same length as what you'll see here in the real thing, whereas I had it before, it was a lot. It was just on the base like they normally come standard, and it was almost too sensitive because I've taken the springs out for making it a lot more realistic feel for flying the helicopters. So we'll see how it goes with the extension, because it should give me a lot more travel, so more resolution and control. So we'll see how we get on. Right, we're going to lift off. A little bit sloppy on the stick there, just trying to catch up because I've got to move it quite a bit further now to get the same sort of travel out of it. But we're sitting here, the wind's pretty much straight into us, so I'm just going to switch to the outside view just so we can have a little look at this beast. Camera background here. It's a very nice looking model. It's hovering nicely too in the in the hover with the sticks, making it a little bit easier to control. I'm just going to land for a second. Land clear of that cone. I just noticed something when I was on the outside view then. As you'd expect, it being a CowanSim's one, it's got its own little configuration menu like they all have. Just doesn't show the pilot, so I'll have that showing when we're in the external views. At least you can see. Yep, and everything else has been set up, so we're good to go. And I'll just chest that out. Alright, that's much better. Yeah, it looked like no one was. There's a ghost chopper before with no one in it. Right, now we'll get off and we'll so we're at Martins Bay. We're just going to head off back down the coast to back to Milford Sound. And we've got the Lindyman's Ortho for XP scenery running, so should be some nice views on the way. So we'll just head up and over this ridge and we'll follow our nose back to Milford Sound. Interesting that the ortho overlay, the Lindyman stuff, is actually pulling the new 3D trees in this part of the country, which is a good thing to see. Just do some low flying across the tops of these trees, it's quite fun. And we'll probably start climbing now. Roll on a bit of power. Get into a climb. Fairly rugged, probably more rugged even than the terrain mesh will show here, I'd say, looking at some of this countryside. And it gets a lot more rugged as we get in towards Milford Sound, and you'll probably notice a lot of dark shadowed areas, and that's just purely the fact that where the orthos are, there's a lot of shadowing because of how steep the terrain is in real life when they've taken the ortho photos. Even if it might have been a nice day, you get a lot of black shadowed areas, and then by the time you combine that with the shadows from off X-Plane itself, you get just big areas of dark. But it still looks a lot better with the ortho on than without. The default textures are just tiled and X-Plane, and they don't look that good, especially for this part of the world. So we're basically nearly in the top end of Fiordland at the moment. It's a little bit further south of here, but we'll just keep following this heading for now. Looks like a nice river coming down there. Little tributaries coming in from up in those valleys. This is absolutely a stunner of a day for this area, Milford Sound, sort of this part of the country really. I can't see a single cloud in the sky, and it's on the forecast, it's saying it's good for a couple of days, so it would be, if you're down there in real life, now would be a time to go for a scenic flight around Milford Sound, because it must be absolutely spectacular. It was fairly clagged in and up in the North Island where I was normally fly, so it's good to go in a different area occasionally. Big slip there coming up under us. You probably could see in places here, I'll try and see if I can point it out, Yeah, probably on that far side, that you can almost see a bit of white on the ortho, and that's probably because there's just some very wispy, faint cloud the day the photo was taken, because it'd be pretty rare to get days where there's just not a single cloud to interfere with the photo. Like even the X-plane itself, even now it's showing one little cloud. I think it's a cloud sort of ahead of us. Yeah, there's a couple or two now, I think, further south of us. Yeah, looking around inside the bottle, it's very nice inside. Now I'll just put my headset on to make it a little bit quieter for you guys. Okay, it was on. So instead of going to the entrance of the Milford Sound and heading up, I'm going to dive, sort of start veering left here, and you can probably make out a bit of a dip. There's a couple of almost sawtooth peaks there, and there's a bit of a saddle. We'll go climb and head up through that saddle, and then we'll sort of make our way down into Milford Sound from there, and you'll be able to see what I mean by some of the shadowing and that. Cruising along about 105, between 105 and 110 knots. It's probably about right. It's a good day, not a lot of wind, so we're not getting buffeted around like my last video in the Squirrel where I had that sling load on, and it was quite gusty conditions that day, whereas this is super smooth. It's a really nice machine to fly. We'll come up this left hand side here and we'll go through, try and approach that ridge at about a 45, which you'd sort of tend to do in real life, because if something was to happen or there was bad weather on the other side, you can veer away a lot easier than flying into it direct on. Once we go through this saddle, seeing on how much power we've still got available, because we're up around just over 4,000 feet now. I may keep on climbing out over that ridge in front, just so we can have a bit of more of a elevated view of what's ahead of us. We still seem to be climbing alright. About 75% torque. And there's the Sound down in front of us. And you can see the dark shadowing there. It sort of almost looks a bit tiled there, but that's where it's really dark. It sort of has these little funny sort of artifacts on the texture. There's this neat country in here. It's big, steep, rugged, rough country, but spectacular. Mitre Peak must be out to our right there, just behind that ridge, I think. Oh, maybe that one there. It's just coming in from an odd angle. I'll start descending down to the Sound now. We'll probably keep it this height for a little bit, maybe actually. We'll go across the Sound and then we'll go down that right hand side. And you can actually make out the airport there now, Milford Sound.
Attention all aircraft, Milford Sound, altimeter 3000.
Yep, there'll be Mitre Peak up to our right there. Let's have a little look at the outside as we fly through here. Start a cruise descent going down this other side. Yeah, we can see Mitre Peak just there behind us. We'll fly down through the runway and then find a helipad to land on up near the terminals. Been a fairly short flight across there, but this is feeling pretty good to fly. I'm not sure what our fuel situation is, so I may need to check that as we get in. Got a bit of speed up coming down there on that descent. Interesting approach here with the trees. Sort of, I don't know if they're quite that high in real life. They almost sort of croak right across the end of the runway. Not a problem for us. Oh, it's got good sounds. Trying to figure out where we can go. I think it's crazy on the textures. On the ortho, it's actually showing where the lawnmower's driven around to mow the, or check the windsock or something. Right, we'll get across into the little spot there by the forklift. Right, we'll wind off the revs. I'm pretty happy flying that. It's a nice machine. Yeah, we've still got 20 gallons of fuel. I think it's all an Imperial system, so we've got a bit of fuel left. Yeah, the revs aren't really winding down correctly on how they should, so I'll just wind it right off. Check that. Yep, that works. Not a lot on these things that doesn't work or function, which is pretty cool. Right, let's turn off the little tablet.
Attention all aircraft. Milford Sound, altimeter 2998.
Must have been a slight temperature or pressure increase or decrease. I forget what the last one was. I think it must have changed. But yeah, that's us for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Just yeah, I definitely recommend that chopper if you like Jetrangers. It's a nice machine. Next up, we'll see you later.